Hello, everyone. That was a bit of a jam, wasn't it? So, hi, I am Tom, your social media and community manager here at ActionVFX, and happy Thursday. How you doing? I hope you're having a wonderful day. Of course, before we jump into the excitement of today's live stream, we've got some very cool stuff with the future of ActionVFX and, some very important announcements. I just want to check that you can hear us loud and clear. So, in the chat, just let us know you're coming in, you can see us, you can hear us. And yeah, with that, I'll be in the chat flagging all your comments and questions. So, if you've got questions for Ro and Luke, then please do, comment, and we'll address them when we can. We're also giving away free starter variety packs to those who comment. So, do share your questions. Anyway, enough about me. I'm going to hand over to someone who is going to be leading this live stream, Mr. Luke Thompson. Hi, Luke.
Hey, what's up, Tom? Thank you very much, sir. I appreciate your enthusiasm. Right, you're a proper English gentleman. And so when you said three, I thought you were saying free, but as in numerical three. But yes, it is also free. 3 free variety packs. So with that being said, thanks for the intro, Tom. I think that this is going to be a really fun and unique format for something. I mean, obviously, we've never had a business model change quite this significant in all of our history over the past 8 years. So this is a new format for us. But I'm really excited to chat with Tom and Ro today about the future of ActionVFX and what that means for everyone in our community. So I will go ahead and introduce Rodolphe Pierre-Louis, our founder and CEO of ActionVFX. Ro, come on in. Give him a big, nice round of applause. Woo! Oh, there it is. All the way from Nashville, Tennessee, ladies and gentlemen, Rodolphe Pierre-Louis. So, Ro, how are you feeling today, man?
Hey, feeling pretty good. Obviously pretty excited about this launch that we have coming up later this week. And yeah, I think it's going to be a cool format to get the chance to actually clarify some things, answer some questions, and directly talk to the users. And yeah, obviously, I think this is a great thing that's happening. I think it puts a lot of our users in a better position than before. And it's cool to get a chance to talk in more details about what that actually means and answer some questions that may have been confusing for people. So yeah, let's do it. What's up, Film Sensei?
All right. So Tom mentioned it briefly at the beginning, but to be entered to win one of those 3 free VFX, I'm just making up words at this point.
Yeah.
To win one of those 3 VFX starter packs, all you have to do is comment a question. So that's basically it. It could just be gibberish with a question mark, but if you have a real question, the better, because then we can actually talk about it.
Don't do gibberish. The question.
Don't do gibberish. That was a terrible idea. Please. So just to get everyone's brain flowing, just all of those creative juices, I'm interested to hear from all of our viewers right now, which visual effects technique or software are you looking to master next? And so this is just kind of a very basic, let's stretch our legs type of thing. So Tom, you can highlight some of those different comments coming in. And with that, if there's any cool, interesting ones we want to highlight, we can do that. But while that is happening, I know we're already getting some questions rolling in, which is good. Let's go ahead and jump straight in, Ro, with why we made these changes. We talk a lot around ActionVFX about what's our motivation, why do we do the things that we do as a company, why do we release the world's largest library of free practice footage? Like,
Mhm.
things help tell this overall narrative of us as a business and us as an organization. So I'll just kick it over to you, in terms of why did we even say, hey, we need to change the way
Mhm.
we've done things for 8 years?
Yeah, no. So it's like the main thing, and that's the main point in our announcement video that I wanted to just be sure was clear, is the idea of how complicated the Action VFX offering was essentially becoming. That was a first main reason because we launched the legacy subscription back in 2021, and that was like it worked a certain way. It had a set of rules, and that was kind of the hey, this is the subscription that we have right now. And then we also had the a la carte system, which we've always had, where you can buy either individual clips or collections at the same time. I mean, just that as you want. And so that was kind of going on. And then last year in July, we then did away with the legacy subscription and introduced AVFX Plus. So that, changed to, again, added another layer of complexity to what we're actually offering. Because when we did the switch to AVFX Plus, well, the way we could have handled it could be, okay, we're switching that, we're going to force migrate everyone into this new plan. But instead it felt like, well, someone that already joined the legacy subscription, even if we discontinued that, it would be better to still have them retain it for a bit longer, just to make that transition easier and not necessarily pull the rug from anyone and force them into something, which it's like, then we have to make sure we're keeping in mind two subscription models simultaneously on the website, even if one of them have ended already. It's just kind of going in the background for existing users. And then the business model kept changing as far as introducing new libraries like the 3D asset library. That's something new that we introduced. And there was always also the things like the practice footage library to bring more value to different users, especially beginners that want to learn VFX and things like that. And then on top of that, adding contributor assets, which for the first 7 years of Action VFX history, we only sold assets that we ourselves made from scratch. And in the past year, we've started introducing contributor collections. And that's actually assets made by, independent creators. That's not us, but selling through our platform as best as we can, still keeping the same quality standards as our platform. Like, we're a pretty hands-on marketplace in that sense, where our team will actually guide contributors to ensure that they're making the products, using the same mindset that we've had as a company. But then that also adds another layer of complexity on top of it, because with contributor products and there's revenue sharing and things like that. And yeah, so already the legacy subscription already ended, but that for sure could not sustain that model itself. But then AVFX Plus users were having problems because they're like, well, I can't really access those types of products that come included with AVFX Plus. So it's just like, if everything I'm saying right now sounds like a lot and very confusing, I almost want to say that's the point, because that's where we were as a company.
Yeah.
So the thing had to be, okay, well, how do we simplify this? How do we actually, is there a world where we have one model that actually connects everything that we're doing into one coherent package that actually makes sense not just for our users, but also for us as a company, as far as being sustainable. And that takes these things into account, that ensures that contributors still get paid and things like that. And yeah, so that's what we came up with. It wasn't it was a decision that had to be validated. I remember for about 3 weeks of my life, every day was just meetings after meetings with users, so many interviews to kind of hear their thoughts. And yeah, we really got to hear about what they were liking about what we're currently doing, what they were not liking about what we're currently doing. If VFX Plus was not a hit among users just because it restricted them a bit on what they could access. And people really love the credit-based system because it's like, hey, I'm getting these credits. I can use them on my assets and just get anything in the library in a perfect world. Again, the legacy subscription didn't work like that because it was made earlier at a time that preceded all of our changes. But the new model takes all that into account. And yeah, so that's I guess that's as short as I can answer this as to why we're doing it. Well, no, I can have a shorter answer. The shorter answer would be we believe it's going to be better for the future of Action VFX and allow us to continue providing and creating awesome assets for our users. At the end of the day, I want Action VFX to keep going, and I don't want us to be a company that is simply, barely getting by or feeling like we have to cut corners in order to be a sustainable business. At the end of the day, we spend tens of thousands of dollars every time we go and shoot something. Anytime we're creating something, that's cost that we still have to make back as a business. And yeah, to stay relevant and to stay awesome, because again, all of our fans, all of our users, they love us because we have great assets. We think through them, we take the time to do them right, and we want to keep doing that.
So they don't just love us for our great personalities. Is that what you're telling me right now?
I'm a little offended.
We do have great personalities, especially
not even Tom's. I was gonna say Tom is he's the poster child for great personality.
But something tells me if the assets weren't great, I don't think the personalities would be enough. No.
Yeah.
I get it.
And all jokes aside, there's like quality is that thing that from day one all the way back to the 2015 Kickstarter, like if any of you watching were with us during that period, one, God bless you, you're a saint. And two, it is like our mission, our goal, and our vision has always been the same thing. And it's cool to see how that's taken different avenues and different forms over the years of how that's fleshed out and actually comes to fruition. But quality, making artists' lives easier and better, and 2D assets is that thing that is the easiest, most simple way for us to do that. And it is really cool how we've also been able to branch and add those different complexities, like you said. And I'm seeing a lot of comments about like VDB assets rolling in. VDBs have been something that very, I guess I'll say they're not widely adopted already. And so as a business, it's really difficult between where's the line for we're innovating for the next thing, we're innovating for the future, but we're also being able to release relevant and compatible things with where people are at today. And even in like the more recent versions of Fusion, adding VDB support natively is a huge step in that direction. And so it's cool to see all these different components that just go back to that same thing of quality. Like that's the thing we're after. One other comment that I wanted to highlight really quick was saying, hey, I would love to learn how to make assets. Do we have a show for you? As we shift gears into this marketplace focus, we're going to be pulling back the curtain a lot more in how we've done things internally, some of the workflows and tools that we've built and used to help other people do the same. And again, creating this kind of sub economy where visual effects artists, Houdini artists, whatever, can make a living through our platform. And that's the future of where we're going. Mm-hmm. And it's cool to see like the stuff we're talking about today with this huge transition even if that's really jarring for people, it's with that intent and that focus as this is where we're going. We want artists to be able to make a living off of our platform, and they can't do that with our current structure.
Mm-hmm.
And so all these different things kind of have to fall in place. So yes, Tom, you see any comments just floating around that you think this is a good one? Let's toss this.
Oh
one
yeah, no, we've got some great stuff coming in from the community, and I've already started a couple. I'm just trying to pick which one to lead with. Right. Okay. So.
Oh, good. I was gonna say, while you're doing that, for anyone that's just joining us, we are doing a giveaway at the end of the stream, and all you need to do to be entered to win, it's a random giveaway, is write a question in the comments. That's all you've got to do, and you could be walking away with a free VFX starter pack from ActionVFX.com.
I have a question for you as one of the selected ones who is also in running for that great prize. So I really appreciate everything you guys create. I'm curious if you have any ideas of how AI has or will continue to affect the business.
Yeah, that's always the AI question is always very juicy. It's I think it's like the big obvious thing is I do think how people do visual effects right now, like fundamentally, I do think many things will change, many workflows will change. Like I think it's definitely possible that in a few years, compositing as we know it won't exactly work the exact same way that that it has worked for the past few decades and stuff. And so these are always the things that we have to keep in mind as a business as well. And for us, it's like at ActionVFX, it's the big question we really had to answer was, how do we position the company to exist in a world where there's, all these different investments happening, and how to really not be a business that is solely focusing on making 2D assets, but also thinking bigger, like tools for artists. At the end of the day, I do believe people will always need different tools to work better, work faster, do cooler, better visual effects. And it's like, well, what does that look like if, regardless of how things evolve, ActionVFX can still play a big part of that? So like that's really where a lot of my focus as CEO is, for sure.
I'll also say I've dabbled a little bit, just in AI in general, just a tiny bit. So like I also saw the question from Max Black, who has the best AI workflow. I guess quick follow-up question to that, is that like just companies in general or interesting things? I don't know. I think there's a couple different ways I could answer that one. So we can put a pin in that for the time being, because I'm very curious. And then we will go ahead and shift gears back over into the next kind of section of things that we want to discuss. And so this really brings us back to the overview of this new subscription model. So Ro, what are some of the key differences? I know you spoke to some of the pain points and changes and getting feedback from users, but what would you say are some of those primary points if you had to summarize it?
Primary points as far as like what is new in this new model?
Yeah, and what, like, why would we say, I know we've had two subscription models and individual purchasing, but this one's better. Like, why is this one better?
Yeah. No, yeah. And yeah, last year, so it was July of last year when we introduced AVFX Plus. And, I'll be the first one to say that I do not think that's how that should not be the norm, right? For us to introduce something and then a little over a year later, it's like, oh, hey, like we're changing it again. Like I don't think that's good. I don't think that's ideal. And I definitely feel for any user that feels like, man, you guys keep changing a lot of stuff. And that's one thing that we want to stop doing. And I do believe this new model really will give us a good platform to run on. That doesn't require, any of those big changes. But I will say like specific benefits. One was bring back the credit-based system. That was something that, the more we talk to users, the more everyone really said how much they love that. It's like, hey, I know every month I'm getting a set amount of credits. And even if I didn't use it for this month, hey, maybe in 3 months, I want something. And now I have like this stockpile of credits that I can use for that thing. So we're bringing this feature back. One thing that we're doing on top of that, that's different from how the old legacy subscription worked, is the idea of giving upfront credits to annual subscribers. So previously, an annual subscriber, you would still have to wait every month to get a credit, which it's like, hey, well, what if I want a ton of stuff right now? Then it'd be like, well, you have to go buy a credit pack on top of that. So then I really, like, a big goal for me as I was crafting this is, what if we actually were able to make the subscription that really bypasses a lot of the preconceived notions of subscriptions and actually make it easy for the user to use our products. So that's when I was thinking, it's like, well, if I was a user and let's say I just wanted 3 collections, not clips, 3 collections right now, would I really want to, oh, well, I'm going to go subscribe for this plan. Oh, and I still won't have enough credits. So I'm going to buy a credit pack. It's like, well, that wouldn't be very user friendly. So we're providing the ability to, on an annual plan now, you can just get, all the credits right up front. I think the lowest amount would be 60 credits to 240 credits. And that is so many collections. So that's going to essentially make it easier for people to use it without feeling like, oh man, I'm like in this weird system. A la carte was better. It's like, well, it's pretty much working like a la carte used to work, if you think of it like that. So that's something I'm super excited about. I would say price-wise, like this is for sure 100% cheaper than a la carte purchasing is currently. And we have gotten some comments of some people that have done, I guess, some math to say, well, I don't know if that's, really true. One, I don't think it's I don't think it's beneficial to try to do math because we haven't yet revealed how many credits things will cost yet. So anything you're guessing is probably not right. But yes, it is going to be a lot cheaper than a la carte purchasing ever was. Like off the top of my head, some 4K clips right now, one 4K clip is $39 versus, the price that getting that for 1 credit would be is like 4 times less, which is hugely beneficial for those users. So that's a big improvement that I'm a big fan of as well. And man, what else?
I was gonna say I got the last one. The last one I think is, in my opinion, the home run of what makes this a great subscription built for artists. And what happens to someone's products when they no longer have a subscription, Ro?
Oh yeah, that is a great one, isn't it? Yeah, it's this idea that, again, one thing people love with a la carte purchasing is, hey, if I buy this product, then it's going to be in my account and I own it. And I remember when we launched the legacy subscription back in the days, if someone spent their credit on something and then they canceled, they didn't retain that thing. Now we have changed that recently just to make that transition better for legacy users. So definitely, if you have credits, do use those. You get to keep those products forever. But yeah, like that is something in the new model that is standard. Essentially, getting stuff with credit is purchasing something with your credits, and it stays on your account. You're going to see the little green check mark that says that you own this product. And if you do cancel your plan, then hey, well, you purchased this thing. So why should you lose it if you canceled your plan? So again, that is another thing that we're doing to really fight this whole, I mean, like subscription is going to ruin my life somehow. It's like, no, really, you're still retaining that same permanence as before. So yes.
Great work, Tom. Great
I
work.
thought I'd highlight that.
It's like make it flash.
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah, so that, I mean, is one of the clearest value propositions for me. And I know we did have a couple other questions that kind of flew through a little bit back of, hey, if you, and Rose said it this way, if you have credits and you're on a legacy subscription, spend those. And the more like temporary benefit thing that I wanted to highlight and that Ro touched on is, if that's you, we've made it to where your credits now for things that you unlock stay on your account. And when you signed up originally, that wasn't something that we were able to do. Even from a business standpoint, it was just very difficult for us to be able to pull that off. So all that to say, I'm really excited and hopeful that once people see kind of how it's structured and what it looks like, I'm not going to name drop any large organizations that have, in my opinion, not done subscriptions in favor of artists, but they exist and everyone knows that they exist. And that's really important for us to not just fall into that same category because we're ActionVFX and we make our own categories for things. And that's what we've done since the beginning. So Ro, one other thing I wanted to highlight is, what up, Ollie? Good to see you, sir. That's not what I was wanting to highlight, but what users get, and there's a little something called the Essentials catalog. Mm-hmm. And I think this is going to tie a lot of different things together and help connecting this overall picture of, we want to be the place for VFX artists. But I mean, what the heck is the Essentials catalog? That means nothing to us right now.
Ooh, that is a great question. So yeah, it's a lot about value at the end of the day. Like for upcoming subscription, the lowest price, like if you pay full price, is going to be $59 a month. And it's this idea that, okay, well, are you just getting credits for that price? And what else could you get? And really, there's a lot of assets in our library that I consider them to be like the essential stuff that you definitely need. You're definitely going to need, certain things like, some cool bullet hits, some gun effects. And it's like, one thing that we have that, perhaps some other companies may not have is, we've been able to do so many assets for our library that it was kind of like, okay, well, do we need to have people spend credits for everything? And the truth is, no. Like, there are some essential stuff that I believe if you're a subscriber of ActionVFX, you should just get access to without having to spend your credits on them. So the Essentials catalog, what is it? It's going to be, to start, because it will keep growing over time, but to start, it's going to be about 1,500 elements, different collections, not 1,500 collections, but the individual assets. There'll be about 1,500 different assets that you can just go in and you download. I think the limit on that is just 20 downloads a day, which is a lot. I truly don't know why you would need to download more than that in one day, but it's just available to you. If you're a subscriber, you can just go get it, save those credits for the stuff that you really need, that you feel like, okay, I have to do without this. But for some of the basic stuff, it's just, no, like, we want you to just have those and get to use those and have better effect shots. So that's something I am super pumped about, and that's on top of the stuff that we have for free people as well. Like, we're still going to have our free elements, so you don't have to be in any subscriptions for that. still going to have the practice footage library, which a lot of people have been using to learn VFX, get better at VFX using their demo reels. You're still going to get access to that, to download those 2K clips of that. So yeah, lots of benefits. And yeah, so the subscription includes a lot more than just, hey, here's those credits, but also, hey, here's access to things that you wouldn't normally have access to.
Yeah, and those are some really strong points. One comment I wanted to highlight really quick is from, hey, man, I have such a short attention span, as you can see, every time Tom puts a new comment. From Frank Carlisle. So one of the points that he mentioned, and this is really the first time I'm thinking about this, but we have these like download limits or caps, if that's what you want to call them, because you mentioned like the 20 daily downloads on the Essentials catalog. This is the reason why I called this comment out, is I want us to build it into a feature if that's not already the case. But accounting for downloading errors or interruptions, I think that is a really good and important thing that we'll be able to take away, because so says the behavior of how we think it should operate. Yeah, like if your download fails or something's interrupted, then you should be able to not have that one expended or whatever until you're able to get that. So no specific comment on that other than, yeah, from a user experience, we want to highlight that and make sure that's good. So if that is happening or you're experiencing that, please do contact us, because we will.
Yeah, one thing I know, because currently AVFX Plus, does have the monthly plans do have like, I think it's like a 10 download per day limit. And yeah, that has been something that has come in where people have, hey, well, maybe this one download had an error or something like that. And I know the support team is on that, and our dev team is working on trying to mitigate any of those issues, and we'll definitely keep going. It's like this time around with the Essentials catalog, the reason we increased it from 10 daily to 20 is also to account for things like that, because again, it's if there was an error, again, we're wanting to not have any errors and stuff, but if there was one, then it's still like 20 is still a pretty big limit. You're not going to typically need all 20 things in one shot immediately to do something. So in that sense, we're all working on it. So yeah, good things to highlight, and yeah, we'll keep doing our best to prevent any errors on how those things are counted. But yeah, that's why we increased the limit too.
Nice. So for those of you that have just joined us or haven't been here since the beginning, we are doing a giveaway at the end of this. So you will win a VFX starter pack. It's one of our variety packs. It includes quite a few starter assets from various collections. All you have to do to be entered to win that is comment a question here on the stream, and they will be randomly and magically selected at the end of this stream. Last question I'll jump over to before we move on to the next section. The question was, what about old and this year Humble Bundle items in terms of past downloads? So I can speak to this really quickly. If what you mean by old assets are just things that you've purchased, like perpetually one-off collection or a clip, those things are just going to remain on your account and they'll live there. So you don't have to worry about your stuff like disappearing. And then Humble Bundle has been a little different because over the years, because it's such a thin margin for serving the files and being able to actually like not lose money on the thing, we've had to have some custom terms with them. So sometimes they'll host assets, sometimes we have in the past. So it's really hard for me to have like a blanket statement over all of those. But all that to say, like if you've gotten anything from us, first party, then that's just going to continue to live perpetually. So, hey,
Film Sensei
Thanks,
doing
Film
some work,
Sensei.
some promo for us.
I love it. All right, so we've kind of touched on the benefits and some of the main changes for what's going to be different through this. I'm ready to turn up the heat on you, bro. Are you ready? I don't have like a sound pad that has sound effects or anything, but maybe we can work on that for the next one, Tom. Let's just dig straight into. We've also touched on like the people that are just very adverse to subscriptions, right? But I want to start getting harder questions. So if we haven't already gotten some in the chat, I know we have a couple that we can kind of talk through here. So concerns and feedback. What would you say are some of the common like concerns that you're hearing, or some of the biggest objections, if you will, to this? And then I'll tee some other stuff up while you're doing that.
No, yeah. So I would say, like, obviously the big thing is there is this, notion that a subscription is inherently is not good for the user, right? Like that's what a lot of people feel when they hear, oh, I can only access this through a subscription, which means, I'm going to pay a lot of money and then I'm going to have nothing to show for it, essentially. And again, with our subscription, I can't speak to other company subscriptions. I can only speak to the one that we have, the one that, as we're building it, we're talking to users and really seeing, okay, how do we actually make this make sense? As I said, ours have a lot of permanence associated with it, to where, hey, the assets that you spending your credits on, it's like these are things that you're getting to keep. This is not something where you get it and then, hey, the subscription ends and it's like, oh my gosh, like everything goes away. Our license agreement is still perpetual, so you can use the stuff for any number of projects forever. And the things that you download, you can still have access to those to keep using. These are things for me as a user. Like I was in visual effects too. Like I definitely value those things. So these are things that we're doing. Other things would be, as I mentioned, just annual plans, getting the credit up front. Because again, previously, if you're spending the money up front for an annual plan, you still have to wait each month to get your credits rolling in. And it's like, well, that's not as advantageous to the user, right? Because as a user, I feel, well, if I pay money up front, then it's going to be great for me to get the value up front as well. And it's like, yeah, that does make sense, doesn't it? Which is why we are doing that. So if you're one of those users where maybe you don't get things regularly, but maybe once a year you'll go and just buy 5 collections right there, then your option now is, hey, just get an annual plan, get all those credits, and then just go ahead and do it. And again, to me, well, not to me, the facts do say that this subscription, like the value when you do all the conversions to say, well, how much would this really cost someone? Like it's definitely a lot cheaper than the current a la carte model. Now, it is more expensive than the legacy subscription. We are not shy about that. It's the facts. The legacy subscription prices that we introduced in 2021, they're not sustainable for the business that we have right now, nor the business that we're wanting to go into the future. And we've done our best to, again, not pull the rug from these people when the AVFX Plus launched last year in July. But yeah, at the end of the day, yes, we're not making any false promises like, oh, it's like it's better than the legacy subscription. No, the legacy subscription was a crazy great deal. I'm glad we're able to do it, and I'm glad we're able to still sustain it a year past the time that it ended. But it it had to end eventually. So, but as far as if you're buying a la carte right now, I don't see any reason why someone should feel that they're not getting more for the value that they're paying. So
yeah. And especially once you start considering all those other free resources that we've just invested a lot of time and money and care into making. I've been joking with people more recently that's like, we're not good at running a business. Like, we have just, given so much stuff for free to the community, and we're going to continue to do that. But it's like, hey, we could support the legacy subscription forever. All right, we're out of business in a couple months. And then you have no subscription ever.
yeah,
But
who,
yeah,
who
so that's,
really wins if there's no Action VFX?
yeah, we're just going to have to revert to the dark ages again. I'm going to rapid fire a couple of the comments that we have in the chat. The first one's from Team Disney 24. Will there be any improvements in searching for assets? Yes, 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 yes. And a couple more yeses. We have been working really hard on making our library a lot more discoverable. And so day one of this new subscription, there's not going to be any crazy like algorithmic changes that recommend you things that you're thinking about. But we are really, really improving and enriching a lot of the discoverability. And that's been a big need because we've added so many new products, even the past 2 years, that we've just blasted through. And it's been a lot more difficult for people to keep track of what they have and what's new. Also, we just released some new free, or not free, new products today on the website. So you should go check those out when you get a second. They're really cool. They're Northern Lights. Next one is, will anything happen to AVFX Plus Elite yearly subscriptions? I'm still not sure what's actually happening yet to this subscription. So this is a great question. With the legacy subscription, we have all these different buckets where people kind of fit. If you're a monthly plan of legacy or monthly plan of AVFX Plus, and then you have the AVFX Plus tiers, and just brings us back to the problem of overcomplicating everything. The short version is if you had a renewal that takes place in September for a monthly or annual subscription, you should have already received an email. If your subscription renews in like October of this year, you'll be getting an email very soon. And after that, like once we have these changes on the website and your renewal date gets a little closer, you should have some proactive communications coming from us. If you're just wondering and just want the specifics, we do also have a priority onboarding thing that we're rolling out. And so that simply means if you're already on one of these other subscription models and you want to be priority onboarded, you can complete this quick form and we'll be able to kind of walk you through the process just to make sure that, hey, here's your old thing, this is the new thing, here's the clarity around that. So hopefully that helped clarify just a little bit. And then now, okay, Tom, do you have a hard question for me to throw at Ro in terms of?
If you buy me some time to find it, I'll highlight it.
Yeah, all good. Well,
like, oh no, hard question.
Fun facts. I actually am a unicyclist, and so I've unicycled quite a while. Although it's been a while since I was last on a unicycle. All right, Tom.
I feel like I need to hear more about that, man.
What's the furthest distance you ever went?
Ooh, I think I did like a 6-mile parade once or something ridiculous, because then you had to it was like a loop. Yeah, it was bad. Would not recommend.
So I've gone with this one. Do you want me to read it?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, cool. With the industry at an all-time low right now, has it affected your business at all? I feel like not a lot of people are working right now, and nobody knows what to expect in the future of film.
Yeah, so I'll say the simplest answer is yes, it has definitely affected our business. It's really has to do with the whole concept of demand, right? The industry has seen a lot of strikes, so there's that delayed a lot of productions from happening, and visual effects is at the tail end of a production. So if new movies, new shows aren't being worked on, then you're not going to have as many studios buying assets and stuff for their projects. So yeah, we have definitely experienced a slowdown. Really starting last year when the strike started happening, and things are still really haven't picked back up too. So that's definitely a real thing. At the end of the day, we still consider us to be in a great place in the sense of, there's been many companies that have to shut down, during this last couple of years, which, you never like to see, because these are still, people working at those companies that lose their jobs and stuff. And like, it's been great for ActionVFX to still be, here doing stuff, being excited to release more products and things like that. But yeah, like, we've definitely been affected. I think a lot of people right now it's hard to know what the new normal is going to look like, from speaking with different of our users, like especially studio users. The consensus is that, hey, things are going to be picking up a little bit more, and there's definitely a lot more hope among people. But again, it's like, what does the new normal look like? I don't think anybody really knows that right now.
Yep.
I can do a harder question.
I've got another one. Okay. So, question. Adobe is hated because of their subscription model. Foundry got flack for their new subscription model. Flame did it. Kentools did it. Lots of others. How good is yet another subscription now?
No, good question. And it's like, because the first thing I'll say is Adobe hated for their subscription model? It's I definitely know it's a real thing that they got a lot of hate and a lot of opinions on why that was a bad thing. Personally, I didn't think that was a bad thing, because I do remember the days where I did not have $1,500 to spend on Adobe CS2, right, or CS3 or anything like that. So it's like, for me personally, and I know for a lot of people, once they actually rolled it out, that for $30 a month, I can get access to the entire Creative Cloud. I was finally at a position like, man, I can now finally use Adobe software, because I would never pirate it before. I am an honest person.
Nope.
But it felt great to be able to have a real Adobe plan that you pay for, and you get access to the products. So it's like, that's always going to be the thing with subscription models. Again, I can't speak to how different companies handle them. I can only speak to how ActionVFX handles it, and the thought that we put into how we decide to do things. Is subscription models a great thing for businesses? I think if done well, yes. Like, it does allow to have, like, recurring revenue is always going to be great, as far as adding a layer of predictability to the business. And that helps us invest more into the business, because if we're running a business where it's like, oh, hey, this new app to cost, that's not a hypothetical number, like, or shoots. It's like, I think our highest shoot was like over $100,000 for that shoot. It's like, if you're running a business where it's like, okay, well, to make this investment, we have to fully ensure that these specific assets will bring back that money, then it's like, oh, well, that can be very hard to justify that. Well, maybe we don't do this shoot because we want to be safer. But then if you decouple that from the business, then it's kind of like, okay, you can keep investing because you have a layer of predictability, and you can focus on making the library better and bigger. So So yeah, it's like, how good is yet another subscription? I think for users of our products, what we have coming out is, I think it's a great option. I think it's a great option. And if you are fine with our a la carte prices and how things work, then to me right now, I can't see how you wouldn't be fine with this as well, because it still retains the same permanence of it, costs less. I feel like
Yeah,
it's a win-win.
I love that Film Sensei highlighted that exact same thing, right? So with Adobe, for example, if you don't have a subscription, you don't have the product. And everyone is, okay, yes, this is business as usual. With ActionVFX, totally different. Like, for starters, we're not a software at all. So just very different. It's not an apples to apples comparison anyway, but you have a subscription and then you don't have a subscription, you still have your stuff. And so that, I think, is one of the more, if we were to just distill everything away, I think that's one of the key biggest things driving that. So with that being said, if you have any very hard hitting questions, like, this is the time, because I want to just dial it up. I feel like we've been hanging around like a, what, 4 or 5 row.
We've been having fun.
We have been having fun. I think we can at least go to like an 8, maybe 9.
Want me to have fun.
Maybe 9, depending on how froggy we have in the chat. And remember, if you ask a question, you are then entered to win at the end of this live stream.
Start pack. Sorry, start
VFX
pack.
Start pack.
Start
You're just
pack.
gonna start that pack.
This is what happens when I write it in a rush. It's also a park, not a pack.
ActionVFX is not creating an amusement park.
There we go. Lovely. Right. Okay. So let me look through those comments for you one more time. Hey, tell us more about that unicycle and when that unicycle pack is coming.
Okay. And really, just cut me off whenever you're ready. But I had a version that was a 32-inch wheel, so not super crazy, and that was just like your standard distance unicycle. And then I also had this other version called a giraffe, and it was actually a 5-foot tall unicycle. The wheel was only like, I don't know, 18 to 22 inches in diameter. But to actually get on it, you have to stand it up like a ladder in the middle of a parking lot and climb it really fast before it falls over and get on top of it so you can start riding it. It's pretty exhilarating, I'm not gonna lie. How you doing over there, Tom?
Yeah, no, you know what? Sorry. First off, fascinating. But in a whole, no one's like hard hitting. Everyone's very, it's sensing.
Okay,
everyone's kind of on board.
I can dig.
You know?
So
it's nice.
I'll pull some real user comments that we got. Does that work for you, Ro?
Yes.
I won't name any names, Anthony. Just kidding. I definitely just made that up. First one, and we can just give like really short lightning responses for these. So confusing. And when you're in the midst of a hard-hitting project, you just don't have time to figure all of this out. Sorry, guys. Love your product and services, but pass again.
Yeah, it's like, I definitely like more context on this this comment. Pass again. Also like to know I was the first thing this user passed on. But as a whole, how I would answer it is just that we do want to make this transition as good as we can make it for anyone. And it's like, I do understand that there are always going to be specific use cases that maybe don't fit into one particular bucket. So I would just encourage any user, like, if you feel this transition is treating you unfairly, reach out to a support team. Like, I would at least want our team to know about what's going on specifically with your concerns. Like this user said, they have a like project going on, don't have time to figure all this out, like we're definitely able and willing to help you figure it out. And I know, change may just seem more complicated than it actually is. Maybe it's a lot simpler too. But yeah, like I would just put out this message to any user dealing with this. If you feel something is not making sense to you, or you feel that you're being treated unfairly, then I would at least definitely reach out to support, because I know what we're trying to do. I know what, we discussed among the team, like we're not in the business of making people's lives harder, and we want to at least have the chance to have the proper context to help you.
Ain't that the truth? All right, last one. Tom, this next one's like pretty dense. Do we have that as a...
I have just simplified it.
Nice.
I think so, anyway. Okay, let's see if it gets the general gist. Okay. This price increase makes ActionVFX significantly more expensive, especially compared to the old system, like pricing many people out. I don't know why I read it like that. It's just how I read things. Sorry.
No, as I've already said in many different ways in this live stream already, it's compared to our a la carte model that we have currently, that we've had for 8 years since we launched. This new model is cheaper. It is definitely significantly more expensive. Is flat out wrong. Like the math doesn't add up to that. Like it's not. It's actually cheaper in some cases, a lot cheaper. I already gave the example of getting a 4K clip for $39 versus getting a 4K clip for like roughly $10 based on this new model. So that's the first thing I would say. But yes, compared to the legacy subscription, which ended in July 2023 when we launched VFX Plus, yes, will be more expensive. That is just the truth. And we've already discussed it. It's about making sure the business is sustainable and that all the different things that we're doing and investing money on can actually make sense and that we can actually keep doing them. Yes, the legacy subscription prices were dirt cheap. And if that could have gone forever, it would have. It just wouldn't work for ActionVFX. And I think we all can agree that we would rather have ActionVFX creating stuff than have no ActionVFX at all. So that's why that is. For the last bit, likely pricing many people out. That is something that's definitely always tough. It's like at the end of the day, it's hard to be everything to everyone at every time, right? Like that's just a fact of how life works, how business works. It's at the end of the day, choices have to be made. It's like, are we going to be a company that spent tens of thousands of dollars on creating quality assets? It's like, if the answer is yes, then, obviously we can't just give it away for free. And there are some prices that are just going to be too cheap to give it away for. And that's, again, leads us to not having a sustainable business that can actually continue to go on. And no matter how we try to balance it, I think there is no version of anything that costs money where someone isn't priced out. It's always going to be, well, where does the line drawn and what is our intent behind it? Again, with our starting price for a subscription, you're not just getting the credits, you're getting the essentials catalog, you're getting access to higher quality practice footage, clips, and things like that. So we do want to make sure the value is there. But yeah, some people will be priced out, but that's also why we have free assets. We have, we have hundreds of free assets. The practice footage library, that one is designed for the user that, maybe you're just starting in VFX. You just want to get better and hone your skills. And hey, we have a tool here that you can use and actually do that, improve your skills. And hey, maybe eventually one day further along in your journey, you will be able to afford our starting prices for ActionVFX assets. But hey, maybe the day is not there yet, but we're still aiming to still provide you some form of value to help you along with your visual effects journey. So in the end, that's what we can do as a company. And yes, I understand that not all prices will ever work for everyone, and that's just a fact of life.
Yep. And one cool thing that we haven't really opened up too much is our new free tier that we have, and what that entails. For starters, it's going to be, there's like a free VFX sample pack in there, and so that's just like one of the other tiny little nuggets of value and things that we're trying to do to continue to do the same thing we've always done, right? That's what I said at the very beginning of this. We want to change the way that things have always been done in terms of quality standards and innovation, but we have to adapt in order to be able to make that standard. So I know we have one more thing to highlight, but while we're highlighting this last one, Tom, do you want to go ahead and grab our winners, and then you can announce them, and then we'll start to put a nice little bow on things. That sounds good to you guys.
Great. So last comment. Yeah.
Yep.
Cool. ActionVFX are surely helpful helpful for VFX artists, I assume, to start somewhere, but it is still very expensive for some of us that are on the other side of the world within the industry. Sorry, I changed some of the wording there.
I guess there's not a specific question in there. I would say,
I think what they're getting at is how does the because I've seen this person comment earlier, and I'll highlight that one as well. But I think what they're saying is like, how does the there we are, found you. Do ActionVFX have any plans for a special pricing for studios from developing countries, as we often don't have the same budget with our friends in the US?
At this time, we don't separate it like that. I will be transparent and say that this was something that we looked into. I don't know, how long ago was that? Look, maybe 2 years ago. And we actually started working on that and altering our code base and stuff like that. And it ended up being like a very tricky thing to really get right, because then you're talking about having targeted prices to different people based on different things. And then it ended up being like a project that was at the time just way too large of a thing for us to do at the moment. And yeah, I mean, it's still something that we're keeping an eye on, and perhaps there will be a time when that makes sense for us to revisit that and see, well, should we have different prices for different people based on. But it's like the way we address that currently, though, is with studios and things. It's not location based, but we're already, take into account the size of a studio based on like the pricing and stuff that they pay. So that already gets taken into account. So like if you're a smaller studio versus.
Oh no, the connection.
Oh no, he's dropped
things.
Oh, he's back.
He's back.
Oh, sorry, we lost you for a second. So if you're a smaller studio.
Yeah, if you're a smaller studio, like you already do pay less right now than a much larger studio. So that's something that we're already taken care of. It's not based on your location, it's based on your business size. So that's already a thing. But it's not just targeting people and pricing them different solely based on location, because perhaps there's a lot more that goes into making a decision like that than simply push a button and say, hey, there we go. So
yep, awesome. Thank you, sir. All right, Mr. Tom.
Cool.
It is the time. Bring us home.
First off, though, I have one additional hard question that I want an answer to as well, by the way. When's Tom moving to Nashville? When I'm invited, guys. Right. Anyway, on to winners.
There hasn't been an invitation?
For
For the
good
record,
reason.
I'm also not based in Nashville. Ro's the only one for now.
So, our winners are. So, Luke, would you like to tell them what they've won?
You've won the VFX Starter Pack by ActionVFX. It is a variety pack that consists of various assets from different collections.
We should have got a little trailer going. But Beowulf Films, Hudvik Art, and Stivosaurus? You guys are our winners. So if congratulations to you on asking us some questions. If you can reach out to myself over Discord, then we'll get you sorted right away with your asset pack. And also to anyone else who is not on our Discord that did not know that we had a Discord, go and join our Discord. Sorry. So there we go. There's a little plug.
Awesome. Well, thank you all so much for hanging in with us and helping us go through some fun questions. If you think of harder questions later, send them to us. We would absolutely love to see that. We are around on our Discord as well, as Tom mentioned. Ro, thank you very much, sir, for your honesty, your transparency, and how you lead our organization. I'm really excited to see what this next stretch of ActionVFX looks like. And Tom, thank you so much for hosting and facilitating everything so that we actually had cool stuff to show and talk about it.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. And everyone is very happy in the chat. So thank you for watching, everyone. It's been fun.
It has. We'll do it again. And until next time, we're ActionVFX. Hope you guys